Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones is a black-clad Jack Sparrow parody with extra guyliner, a bumbling buffoon, psycho axe wielder, and font of all memes. So why is everyone so obsessed with book Euron? Why does he strike fear into the hearts of the readers? What did he do in exile? And what exactly are his dark, twisted, esoteric plans? This is the real Euron Greyjoy. Like and subscribe for more videos like this. We begin with Game of Thrones. Euron Greyjoy is the second son of Lord Quellan Greyjoy. His older brother is Balon, and his younger brother is Aeron, who looks older than both of them. Balon and Euron convinced their father to join Robert's rebellion and raid the Reach, but he died in battle. Euron considers Balon's subsequent rebellion to have been a stupid idea. He believes his brother should have journeyed beyond the Sunset Sea to raid lands unknown. Nonetheless, Euron burned the Lannisport fleet and raided the city. He lost his ships due to a trap set by Stannis Baratheon, although he claims he sent his ships into the narrow strait intentionally to bring a faster end to the rebellion. He could just be doing mental gymnastics to avoid the fact that he fucked up. After the fall of Pike, Euron went into exile. According to Balon, the rumours say that Euron went mad while sailing the Jade Sea, leading his crew to tie him to the mast, and when the storm passed, he cut out their tongues. We don't hear anything about him during the first 5 seasons, except when Tyrion reminds Theon how his Greyjoy uncles orchestrated the raid of Lannisport, which implicates both Euron and Aeron, seeing as Victarion doesn't exist in the show. What about Euron in the first few books? He was born the 5th son of Lord Quellan. With Lady Stonetree, Quellan sired Harlon, Quentyn and Donal. With Lady Sunderly, he sired Balon, Euron, Victarion, Uragan and Aeron. And with the mainlander Lady Piper, he sired the sickly Robin. Euron has one light blue eye and a black one, called his crow's eye and his blood eye, although the reader hasn't yet seen it. He may have been born with heterochromia, or he may suffer from hyphema, bleeding in the anterior chamber of the eyeball that can become dark red. This would be similar to the look of his sigil, which boasts a red eye with a black pupil. It's possible that the entire eyeball is black, or might not even exist at all. Just as Aemon Targaryen placed a blue sapphire in his socket, mayhaps Euron has fashioned his own eyeball, one of onyx, or dragonglass. We know a little of this monster's childhood. When he was a boy, he dreamed that he could fly. Bran Stark too dreamed of flying when he was contacted by the Three-Eyed Crow. Euron may have been one of the many Greenseers contacted by Bloodraven as a child, a failed student who went down a different path. He's always been dark and sadistic. Yes, he often mocked his dull-witted brother Victarion, but the way he treated his other 2 younger siblings was far worse. He would visit Uragan and Aeron at night, and they would pray for him to pass by. It is highly likely that he sexually abused both of them. Most of Euron's siblings died. Quentyn and Donal passed away in infancy, while Uragan died of an infection after he lost his fingers during a finger dance game. The fates of Harlon and Robin are far darker. Harlon suffered from grayscale, which eventually turned his mouth to stone. Euron pinched his older brother's nose and watched as he died. He then pissed into the sea, waiting for the drowned god to punish him, but no punishment came. Thus was born Euron's mocking, egotistical, deicidal view towards life. He also killed his youngest brother, the sickly Robin. As Robert's rebellion broke out across the land, Euron, along with Balon and Victarion, convinced Lord Quellan to join the rebellion and raid the Reach. Quellan died at the Battle of the Mander, and Balon claimed the Seastone chair. In 289 AC, sensing that Robert's reign was unstable, Balon declared himself King of the Iron Islands and declared independence from the Iron Throne. We don't know Euron's thoughts on this rebellion, but he did help orchestrate the burning of the Lannister fleet. Unlike the show version, however, it was not Euron who deliberately led his ships into Stannis' trap, but Victarion who accidentally did so. Dumb as a stump. While show Euron abandoned the Iron Islands following the failed rebellion, book Euron stuck around until he went too far. He impregnated Victarion's salt wife, either by seduction or more forceful means. For cuckolding his brother, Euron was sent into exile by Lord Balon, and told never to return while the Lord still lived. He laughed as they parted, and Victarion tearfully beat his wife to death. Euron left in his ship, the Silence. Its decks are painted a dark red to hide the blood. The prow is a mouthless maiden, and the sail later boasts his personal sigil. A red eye with a black pupil beneath a black iron crown, carried by 2 crows. He sailed east to reave and pillage, collected a diverse crew of loyal sailors and thugs with their tongues ripped out, and sired bastards with whores and captives. The Crow's Eye claims to have travelled to the mysterious Ashai by the Shadow, to have sailed the Smoking Sea, to have walked the ruins of Valyria itself. There, he allegedly discovered a hellhorn inscribed with Valyrian glyphs, Dragonbinder. If his bold claims are true, this is where he also discovered a suit of runic Valyrian steel armour. At one point he owned a dragon egg and hired a Mirish wizard to hatch it within a year. Before the year was up, he grew bored and slew the man before throwing the egg into the sea, allegedly. Euron is still in exile during the first 2 books. It's worth noting that a mysterious figure lives in Karth during A Clash of Kings. After Daenerys burns the House of the Undying, glass candles, obsidian instruments that give men visions across the world, begin burning in the house of Urathan Nightwalker. Curiously, Urathan is an Ironborn name, and in the past there reigned a King Urathan IV of House Goodbrother, who was nicknamed Bad Brother. Remind you of anyone? At some point he captured 4 Kartheen warlocks and stole their cask of hallucinogenic Shade of the Evening. The heavy drinking gives him blue, bruised lips. He killed the most threatening of the warlocks and fed his body to the others. Euron only returns to his homeland in A Storm of Swords. King Robb Stark learns that Euron Greyjoy has fallen to his death from Castle Pike, and that Euron has returned to the islands to claim the Seastone Chair. Before these events, the ghost of Highheart tells the Brotherhood Without Banners of her visions. In one, a man without a face waits on a swaying bridge, a drowned crow perched on his shoulder. This probably represents the Faceless Man assassin hired by Euron to murder his brother. Euron may have paid for this with riches stolen over the years, or perhaps with the dragon egg. Back to the show. In Season 5 of Game of Thrones, Euron officially appears.
Big cock.
He himself waits on the rope bridge. He is arrogant and mysterious, calling himself the Drowned God and the Storm. Balon slices at his cheek, but Euron throws his older brother off the bridge and to his death. This murder takes place after the War of the Five Kings and after Stannis' death, so I guess those leeches were pretty late. This triggers a Kingsmoot, where he makes his dramatic entrance.
I claim the Salt Throne!
The mysterious badass from the bridge is quickly replaced with a new character. Let's call him Show Euron Mark II. Visually, he's very distinct from his book counterpart. Book Euron is a handsome, pale man with a short black beard, stained blue lips, and an eye patch for his blood eye. Sometimes the patch is black, sometimes it's red. Show Euron is, well, he's just a guy really. He's just a dude. He's got 2 normal eyes, normal lips, and a cute little scar on his left cheek. Oh, and mutton chops. Rocking the book Tywin look, I see. He's also the only Greyjoy, in fact the only Ironborn, with a suspiciously non-English accent.
Even heard you have no cock.
Maybe we can chalk this up to his travels across the world. Anyway, Yara Greyjoy puts herself forwards at the beginning of the Kingsmoot, with backing from Theon, until Euron steals all the thunder. He wins over the Ironborn electorate with radical policy, rich and exotic bribes, megalomaniacal ambition— oh wait, no he doesn't. He roasts Theon for not having a penis, and then reveals to everyone that he's a literal kinslayer and murdered his own brother Balon. And mocks Theon for using the word gallivanting, for using a big word, and then announces he's going to build a giant fleet and sail to Slaver's Bay and marry Daenerys and take the Iron Throne, and she's going to fall for him because his penis is big. See, Theon doesn't have one, Yara doesn't have one, Euron does have one, and it's also large, it's certainly above average, probably aesthetically pleasing too, shaped like a swan's neck if I had to guess. Naturally, the Ironborn lords and captains reject the kinslayer who keeps talking about genitals and big vocabulary. Oh no, sorry, wrong again, they all support him. Of course they do. Insert unfunny joke about whichever real-life politician you personally don't like. As part of the crowning ceremony, of course, Euron must be ritually drowned and then resuscitated with chest pumps and the kiss of life. Wait, no, he's just being left there. He's dead, I guess. The show version of this ritual is to literally just drown someone and leave them to die. Oh, yay, he miraculously woke up for no reason. Okay, with that bullshit out the way, Euron drops another bar, another banger. Where are my niece and nephew? Let's go murder them. Let's go murder me, how about that? Spare me from this bullshit. Yara and Theon flee to Dany first, however, to secure an alliance with her. The last we see of Euron, he demands 1,000 ships be built. 1,000. 1,000. Okay, sure, why not? In a feast for crows, Euron has seized the Seastone Chair and is bribing supporters with foreign treasure. Lord Sylwain Botley of Lordsport refuses to bend the knee, so Euron has him drowned in a cask of seawater. His brother Aeron, now a drowned priest known as the Damphair, calls a Kingsmoot to oppose him, an ancient tradition in which a great council of captains vote for the new king. The brutish captain Victarion Greyjoy hopes to claim the Seastone Chair for himself. His niece Asha offers to rule beside him, but he rejects her, so she presses her own claim. Thus begins the Kingsmoot on Naggers Hill, on the island of Old Wick, at the bones of the Grey King's Hall. Commoners and thralls alike watch from the base of the knoll, while the captains gather at the hill's zenith. There are 6 candidates, each one supported by 3 champions. Our first candidate is Gilbert Farwind, the Lord of Lonely Light. He's supported by his sons Giles, Aegon and Jon. Gerbert promises to lead the Ironborn to a land of glory and bounty across the Sunset Sea, like an Nymeria reborn. He delivers gifts of whalebone, seal skins, and bronze. Unsurprisingly, he gets little support. Our second candidate is Lord Eric Ironmaker, who is quite literally supported by his 3 grandsons, Daegon, Thormor, and Urek. He brings gifts of silver and bronze, and boasts of his many battles, to the joy of the crowd. Asher Greyjoy makes a simple demand of the powerful warrior, to stand up. The octogenarian boar is unable to fulfill her request, and loses a bunch of support. Our third candidate is the Bone Hand himself, Dunstan Drum, the Lord of Old Wick. His champions are his sons, Dennis and Donal, and the infamous warrior, Andric the Unsmiling. Dunstan boasts of the history of House Drum, from Dale the Dread to Gormund the Oldfather, from Hilmar the Cunning's theft of Red Rain to, everyone's asleep, where he tries to win everyone back with his gifts, but they prove to be unimpressive. Our next candidate is from the Greyjoy dynasty, Victarion himself, supported by Newt the Barber, Ralph the Limper, and Red Ralph Stonehouse. He offers to continue Balon's legacy and finish the war against the North, displaying gifts of gold and silver. The crowd go wild over the continuity candidate, but a populist steps forth. Our fifth candidate, Asher Greyjoy, the Kraken's daughter. She's supported by Carl the Maid, Christopher Botley, and Sir Harris Harlaw. Her glorious gifts are pine cones and turnips, loot from the north that Ironborn fathers and sons have died to win. Asher promises to stand up against the military-industrial complex funded by Greyjoy Incorporated and pursue peace with the Northmen. The crowd viciously splits between uncle and niece, with both sides screaming out the names of Dragonbinder interrupts the presidential debate, and the third-party candidate steps forth. He boasts of his exploits across the known world, and claims he can use the Hellhorn to bind dragons to his will. With this power, he will take the Iron Throne and ensure Ironborn domination over Westeros itself. He brings gifts of gold, armor, daggers, swords, exotic pelts, ivory tusks, and much more. Euron takes the Driftwood crown. His 3 champions were Germund Botley, Sir Wayne's younger brother and the new ruler of Lordsport, Lord Alan Awkward, and Lord Donor Saltcliffe. Other loyal allies include Lord Walden Winch, Left-Hand Lucas Codd, Pinchface John Meyer, the Red Oarsman, Stonehand, and Torwald Browntooth. When Asher Greyjoy flees to Harlaw, Euron marries her in absentia to old Eric Ironmaker, replacing her with a fat old seal. Baelor Blacktide, the Lord of Blacktide, refuses to bend the knee, and also tries to flee the island. He's captured and sliced into 7 body parts, one for each of the mainland gods he worships. Lord Roderick Harlaw, known as Roderick the Reader because he reads books, convinces Asher to flee with her allies. Victarion spots him talking with Lord Gorold Goodbrother and Lord Dunstan Drum. All 3 are wary of their new tyrannical king, but they're smart enough not to get themselves killed. Yet. Euron's first course of action is to launch a surprise assault on the Shield Islands, 4 territories off the coast of the Reach: Grey Shield, Green Shield, South Shield, and Oakenshield. After all, the Reach armies are tied up in the Crownlands and the Stormlands, while the Redwyne fleet is besieging Dragonstone and Storm's End. Euron and Victarion lead the attack, leaving behind Eric Ironmaker as the Lord Steward of the Iron Islands. Torwald Browntooth and the Red Oarsmen lead 12 longships up the Mander to draw out the Shield ships. Euron attacks the Shield Islands from the west, with the setting sun at their back. Sir Harris Harlaw lands on Grey Shield and demands the defenders of Castle Grimston to face him. He duels 7 grim knights until the Castle Septon believes this to be a sign from the gods and opens the gate. The remaining 3 islands are swiftly taken as well. Lord Guthor Grim is held captive in Grimston, Lord Osbert Seri flees to Highgarden, and Lord Morrible Chester is slain. Euron cunningly grants these islands to former supporters of his Kingsmoot rivals, ensuring their loyalty while also preparing to blame them for the islands inevitably being taken back by the Reach. Newt the Barber becomes Lord of Oakenshield, Andric the Unsmiling becomes Lord of South Shield, Maron Volmark becomes Lord of Green Shield, and Sir Harris Harlaw becomes Lord of Grey Shield. The peasant women and children are captured, not to become thralls, but to be sold into slavery at least. The new king holds a victory feast at Lord Hewitt's castle, forcing the bound lord to watch on helplessly as his daughters and granddaughters are forced to serve drinks to the Ironborn while naked. The forced nudity is at the behest of his new young lover, Thalia Flowers, who clearly has a grudge against her family. Lord Hewitt is later killed. Afterwards, Euron tasks Victarion with sailing the Iron Fleet to Meereen, courting Daenerys Targaryen in his name, and bringing her and her dragons to Westeros. He offers his brother a couple of gifts, a young maester called Cerwyn, and a beautiful, mute, dusky woman. In return for Victarion's help, King Euron offers him the Seastone chair itself. King Euron does not physically appear in A Dance with Dragons, but emerges in the visions of others. The Red Priest Mokoro sees a tall and twisted thing with one black eye and 10 long arms, sailing on a sea of blood, a kraken with the eye of a crow. He tells Victarion that he is blind to the tentacles that grasp you at wrist and neck and ankle, the black strings that make you dance. Victarion is a puppet of Euron. Back to Game of Thrones. This is where the Euron storylines fully diverge. Euron Mark I was a mysterious, creepy, albeit watered down version of the book character. Euron Mark II was a cringe-drunk uncle staggering into the barbecue. Now introducing our new model, Euron Mark III, edgy Captain Jack. He's charismatic, he's goofy, he wears black, he's got guyliner. What a legend. He's got a special personal coat of arms as well, a golden Greyjoy kraken with a red eye. Just like his blood eye. Oh wait, no. You couldn't have given a brother an eye patch, really? With Dany now in Yara and Theon's camp, Euron instead sails to King's Landing with an offer of marriage to Cersei Lannister, who became queen after, due to her... I still don't know how she took that throne legally. Anyway, Cersei rejects him, but the Chad Euron is not bothered, and promises to return with a gift. This reintroduction also sows the seeds of his infamous beef with Jaime Lannister. Yara's fleet departs Dragonstone for Dawn, but gets intercepted by Euron's ships. He used a glass candle, probably. Maybe. Probably not. He didn't. I don't know how he pulled this off, to be honest. But he does. He rides a Kraken-themed Corvus down onto the deck and crushes someone. Okay, that is actually pretty cool. Introducing Euron Mark IV, Victare Euron. He's got a big axe and he's not afraid to use it. He slays Obara Sand with her own broken spear and strangles Nymeria with her own whip. He captures Yara and demands that Theon rescue her, but his traumatized nephew yeets overboard. The gifts have been secured. Euron rides through the streets of King's Landing with the Semi and his 3 captives, Yara, Alaria, and Awuga. Sorry, I meant Tyene. Cersei promises to reward him after the war against Daenerys is won.
Fingered the bomb.
Look at him, he's so cool. He's actually kind of uncool, to be honest, but not in a cringe way, in a likeable way. I don't know how he pulls it off. Anyway, he takes his fleet back west and destroys Dany's fleet, besieging Casterly Rock. Later, at the parley in the Dragon Pit, Euron sits beside Queen Cersei. He threatens to kill the captive Yara if Theon doesn't submit. God, it's so awkward. The frenzied wight genuinely spooks him, and he flees back to the Iron Islands, where the army of the undead cannot touch him. Thus, Euron Greyjoy disappears from the story forever. Aha, it was actually a ruse. He sails to Essos to bring the Golden Company to Westeros. I guess this was planned all along. He planned to feign fear and flee. Cersei didn't even believe that there was going to be an undead wight, so what exactly was the plan? If there wasn't, was he going to pretend to flee anyway? Did he just improvise in the moment to maintain the element of surprise? Was he genuinely scared by the wight, but then Cersei persuaded him to go to Essos after the parley? I don't know, but regardless, we do see him in the final season. He's brought Harry Strickland and the Golden Company to King's Landing. Yara is still his hostage. He keeps her alive to sadistically entertain himself. He force feeds her Shade of the Evening, exposing her to nightmarish visions. No, wait, no, he just kind of shitposts next to her. Fair enough. Unlike Book Euron, this guy doesn't appear to have a particularly nefarious or esoteric plan. He wants to win the war, marry Cersei, become king, and if Cersei starts losing, he just wants to flee back to the Iron Islands. Fair enough, I guess. Later, Euron asks to speak privately to the Queen. He has, after all, gifted her Myrcella's killers and an entire Ironborn fleet. Cersei concedes and they sleep together. During his absence, Theon rescues Yara from the silence. The master of surprise naval attacks strikes again, this time hiding behind a bunch of rocks with Qyburn-designed scorpions. He successfully kills Rhaegal and fires the bolt through several Targaryen ships. I guess Dany kind of, yeah, you get the point. He delivers yet another Amazon package to Cersei, this time in the shape of Missandei, whose execution he later witnesses. We have reached Euron's final episode. He's on board the Silence, protecting King's Landing by sea, until Dany and Drogon destroy the Iron Fleet and disintegrate him. Perhaps a herald for his fate in the books. In the Winds of Winter, he... Kingslayer! Oh god damn it. So Euron swims to safety to this little place and bumps into Jaime Lannister at the exact same time. How convenient. He challenges the Kingslayer to a duel because... beef, I guess? They have beef. They both want to bang Cersei, so they've got beef. During a painfully awkward fight scene, he shanks Jaime twice, but gets stabbed in the stomach and left to die.
I'm the man who killed Jaime Lannister.
No? I love how his final scene is him just being objectively wrong. What a way to go, though. Rest in peace, King. a digit in the rectum. In the sample chapter for the Winds of Winter entitled The Forsaken, we learn that Aeron Damphair was captured and imprisoned after the Kingsmoot. At first, he's locked away in the dungeons of Oakenshield Castle, where he's visited by Euron's new lover, Thalia Flowers, who wishes to become Euron's new salt wife. He's dragged to a second dungeon, surrounded by mutilated septons, priests, and warlocks. One of the warlocks keeps repeating the word Pre, so this might be Pyat Pre himself, or one of the warlocks who was forced to eat Pyat Pre, perhaps. Twice, Euron force feeds his younger brother the hallucinogenic Shade of the Evening. Aeron dreams of his dead brother Euron, and of Euron seated atop a mound of blackened skulls, his blood eye revealed to the world, dwarves capering around his feet. He blows a great horn and summons dragons, krakens, and sphinxes to his command. The skulls transform into the Iron Throne, its blades impaling many gods. Ironborn ships burn adrift on a boiling blood-red sea. Euron sits the Iron Throne once more, yet this time his face is a mass of writhing tentacles. A woman in Shadow's form stands behind him, her hands alive with pale white fire. Dwarves caper for their sick amusement. Aeron is eventually dragged out of his visions and out of the dungeon. Euron and his ships have taken a small island off the coast of the Arbor and hanged the inhabitants of its castle. With the Red Wine fleet returning, a new battle awaits. Euron now wears a set of Valyrian steel armor and a crown of iron and shark teeth. He orders the captured priests to be tied to the prows of the Ironborn ships. Euron Greyjoy and Thalia Flowers are stripped and lashed to the prow of the Silence as it goes out to sea. So what awaits Euron Greyjoy in the rest of the Winds of Winter, if that accursed book ever comes out? There is an esoteric theory known as the Battle of Blood, which I'll be exploring in my next video. But to put it simply, Euron may use mass sacrifice and eldritch summonings to take Old Town from the High Towers and rule from the High Tower itself, like Saruman in Isengard. His goal appears to be the Iron Throne. If Victarion binds a dragon to Euron's will, it would give him a powerful weapon, to go with all the krakens he's summoning, of course. Or is his goal to bring the apocalypse? Will he somehow trigger the Long Night, bringing down the wall, allowing the White Walkers to march south? We cannot dismiss the fact that the story beats from Game of Thrones could be accurate. Euron may attempt to marry Cersei, and Jaime could become the twice Kingslayer and kill him. But we also have visions from the books to inspire us. A woman with pale fire dancing in her hands. Is this Cersei and her wildfire? Or perhaps Melisandre, abandoning her fate, worshipping the Great Other instead of the Lord of Light? There is a miniature that George R. R. Martin commissioned which was a white version of Melisandre. The mound of blackened skulls represents the mass death that Euron will cause, perhaps by dragonfire, and the Iron Throne, well, it could be a visualization of his insatiable ambition, or it could be a peek into the actual future. The dead gods on spikes denote his literal god complex. Will he use magic to literally become a god of sorts? Will the Long Night be ended only for the threat of Euron to remain in the south, a scouring of the Shire situation? It's hard to know what role he'll play in Winds or A Dream of Spring, but his fate is sure to be epic. Or not, he could die during the attack on Old Town, but as I said, we'll talk about the Battle of Blood in the next video. Euron could be the big villain in the south for Aegon Targaryen to contend with, or Daenerys. He may act as the human face of the others, a reverse Bloodraven. He could even be slain by his own brother Victarion. Squid Bowl get hype. Perhaps most satisfyingly, he will succumb to his own ambition and ego, destroyed by a dragon he tries to ride, eaten by a kraken he tries to tame, slain by White Walkers he tries to rule over. Euron Greyjoy in the show and the books are two completely different characters. Show Euron is supposed to be a mixture of Euron and Victarion, yet somehow fails to be either. He has book Euron's ambition and ruthlessness, but no mystique, no esoterica, no real grand plans. He has book Victarion's fighting prowess, I guess, but he's not intimidating, or charmingly dull-witted. He's a Jack Sparrow parody to line up with all the other black-clad Disney Endgame villains in the final season. Just compare him to this Histories and Lore video, where he looks and sounds 100 times more interesting and intimidating. Show Euron boasts about kinslaying and his big dick, tries to marry Cersei, kills a couple sand snakes, finger in the bum, kills a dragon, I do keep forgetting that he kills a fucking dragon, and gets shanked by Jaime because he's got some kind of random beef with him. He's a joke character that wasn't taken seriously by show or book fans. Book Euron is a highly rational madman, an esoteric sorcerer king with delusions of godhood and fantasies of deicide, cunning and cursed in equal measure. He is as intriguing and charming as his smiling blue eye, while his true ambitions and plans are as dark and mysterious as his hidden blood eye. With his eyes on the Iron Throne, dragons, and marriage to Daenerys, and perhaps links to Bloodraven and the White Walkers, he looks set to be one of the largest and most terrifying villains of the Song of Ice and Fire. Next up, we're going to be diving into the Battle of Blood. But if you want to learn more about the Battle of Fire, check out this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and feel free to check out the Patreon and the merch. On the Patreon we've got exclusive videos, teasers and Discord access. Special thanks to all my patrons, in particular Andre, Caden, Colshot, Devcole, Itchaboi, Elias and Morphy. See you next time.